roundtable today for you on our Friday night special. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9. The Supreme Court directs the release of late Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi's killers. The convicts are set to walk free. An unhappy Congress calls the move wholly untenable. Big development in Varanasi's Gyanvapi Temple Mosque dispute. Supreme Court extends protection of the area where the alleged shivling rests. Protection to continue till further orders. Liquor Gate probe intensifies in Delhi. Enforcement Directorate claims that 34 accused in the case have changed a total of 140 cell phones. Agency says phones changed only after the scam surfaced. Politics escalates over Kempegowda's statue unveiling after Prime Minister hails contribution of Kempegowda. Siddharamaiah attacks the PM, asks does the BJP really follow the values of the city founder? Shiv Sena leader Aditya Thackeray joins Rahul Gandhi in the Congress's Bharat Jodo Yatra in Maharashtra. The BJP taunts him, says this is a meeting of two pappus. Former NCP Minister Jitendra Awad detained after he led workers to create a ruckus in a Mumbai theatre over the film Har Har Mahadev. MP Supriya Sule alleges political pressure on the police. Relief for Jacqueline Fernandez as the court defers her bail order in a 200 crore extortion case linked to conman Sukesh. Interim bail continues for the actor. Final order on November 15th. Twitter brings back the grey official check mark a day after killing it. Meanwhile, Elon Musk announces that the microblogging site could hit bankruptcy soon. And a day after Vladimir Putin recalls forces from Kherson, Ukraine troops enter the western edge of the city. Residents flood the city square to celebrate the Russian retreat.
India knocked out of World T20. Lackluster power play costs India dear. Did India play T20 the ODI way? No ICC Cup since 2013. Time to revamp Indian cricket. Cricket Roundtable.
That's right. India knocked out yet again of the World T20 semi-finals. This was on Thursday. But 24 hours and more, the post-mortem hasn't ended. Irate cricket fans are now calling for a total revamp and the axing of several of India's key players. India, remember, hasn't won an ICC global tournament now since 2013. This despite the fact that India is widely regarded as the capital of the global game. So how does Indian cricket rediscover the winning feeling? Today on a cricket roundtable, we raise the big questions that surround Indian cricket. Question number 1. Has Indian cricket finally got a wake-up call after the World T20 exit in the semi-finals? Where did Team India go wrong that it was thrashed by 10 wickets by England? Has the time come for a total revamp of Team India and the way cricket is run and managed? Should India have separate ODI, T20 and Test teams? Is the IPL a boon or a bane for Indian cricket? And can Indian cricket really bounce back by the time the next World Cup is held? 50 overs next year and 20 overs 2 years from now. Joining us on the show is Kirti Azad, 1983 World Cup winner, Shishir Hatangri, President My Sports and former Mumbai cricket captain, Pradeep Magazine senior journalist who's just written a book on not just cricket but much more than that, about life as well. Lalchand Rajput is coach of the 2007 T20 winners, the last time we won the tournament. But before I come to my guests, Sunil Gavaskar is India Today's cricket guru and former India captain and legend. I spoke to him earlier. Listen into what he said, because I asked him again, what according to him was the biggest thing that had gone wrong with Team India's campaign in Australia. This is what he had to say.
I think the lack of winning the power plays. Whenever we did win the power plays, we struggled to win the match.
So is this then a time to make a fresh start for Indian cricket, possibly in the white ball game, become more adventurous in the way we play the game, Mr. Gavaskar?
I think that will be something that will definitely engage the selection committee's mind. And I think you will probably see in the next few days that there will be, after the New Zealand tour particularly. See, for the moment, you know that the teams have been selected right till the end of the Bangladesh tour. So far, there is going to be no change till maybe the new year, when the domestic international season will start. So if any change has to happen, it will happen only around that time, not at the moment.
Hardik Pandya, Mr. Gavaskar, is going to captain the team to New Zealand. He was terrific in the game against England, the shining star. Could he be India's next India T20 captain in your view?
Yes, I think he should be the next India captain as far as the T20 format is concerned.
Would you agree that in India we are reluctant though to drop stars, Mr. Gavaskar? England kept Joe Root out of the T20 side. Even Australia didn't pick Steve Smith for most games. Should we also relook, therefore, at having completely different Test, ODI and T20 sides now?
Let's not vex our minds with that. Let the selection committee consider that.
But the criticism, Mr. Gavaskar, against India is that our T20 style isn't modern enough. Should we go like the English, who seem to now go on the attack from ball one? Would you agree that we need a completely different style of playing this game?
None of these questions would have come if we had got to the finals. So you lose one match, and now suddenly we are taking pot shots at our team. I know that there are issues that can be looked at. For example, the workload situation can be looked at. I think we should also look at the number of people we carry. Does it confuse the players when you have too many talking heads around you? These are issues that we should think about. These are things that, maybe the powers that be should be thinking. But let's not talk about wholesale changes just because we've lost. And if we had got to the finals, we would be talking who should be playing in the 11, and, we would have been. So let's not be, we are very famous for these knee-jerk reactions and having a go at our team when we lose. I don't think that is the right way. Yes, I think, you need to look at how to strengthen your team. And if it means taking some hard calls, you need to take those hard calls. And for that, rather than you and me, there's a selection committee that is appointed. So they will have to take the hard calls.
Finally, Mr. Gavaskar, Indian cricket still the global capital in your view of the game, irrespective of the fact that we haven't won an ICC tournament now almost for 10 years?
Well, no, I wouldn't say so. I think India has come on very well as far as the cricket administration is concerned. So I don't think you can say that, English cricket is, but in a way, we tend to sort of, get a little carried away because it's been in our DNA over the years that anything that comes out of England has got to be, the gospel. So I think we need to get that attitude out of our minds. And if we get that attitude out of our minds, I think we will all, as a nation, do a lot better, not just in cricket, but in everything.
Okay, so Mr. Gavaskar there is suggesting no premature knee-jerk reaction should be taken to one defeat. I appreciate Sunil Gavaskar, you joining me. Thank you very much. Let's therefore broaden it. Kirti Azad, you've heard Sunil Gavaskar there. Don't take knee-jerk reactions. No need for a major revamp just yet. Leave that to the selectors. Your view, Mr. Azad, do you believe that it's time to take certain tough calls?
I feel yes, we have to take tough calls. The first thing is that why should I believe the selectors? They have had 7 captains in the last 1 year. You had a Rishabh Pant, you have had Virat Kohli, you have had Rahul Rohit Sharma, you have had KL Rahul, you have had Hardik Pandya now. So there have been 7 captains. Where has been the combination for the World Cup? If you're going into the World Cup, at least 6 months, you should have a team. Like Virat used to have a team. These will be my fast bowlers, these are my opening batsmen, this is the middle order, these are the all-rounders. And this will be the 14 or 15 that I'll pick from, and I have these 5 or 6 reserve. If somebody gets injured like Bumrah did, you should have gotten in from Siraj who was playing. You brought in Mohammad Shami who was injured for such a very long time. So I'm not criticizing, I'm saying why should I believe the selectors?
So are you calling,
workload,
if you were a selector, would you revamp the team?
Matches.
If you were a selector, would you revamp the team?
Yes, I would.
And where would you start?
I would revamp the team. I would have picked it differently. I would have picked it differently. I would have, even if I had gone with this side, I would have had Rishabh Pant opening. I said it before the World Cup that they should have Rishabh Pant opening with Rohit so that you have a left and right combination. Rishabh has been very successful in Australia. If you remember, we were all out for 36 and then he came back with back-to-back centuries and India won that series 2-1 against Australia minus Virat Kohli at that time and all the youngsters playing in the side with the seniors out. So he is one who had a lot of experience. He should have gone in there left and right and then he plays strokes. He's exciting like Surya Kumar Yadav. If you ask me, there are only 4 players that I'll mention in this World Cup who did well. Starting with Surya Kumar Yadav, Virat Kohli, Arshdeep Singh and Hardik Pandya. Pandya also excelled more than ball to ball and fast was in the last game. Otherwise, you saw that he always started slow and then picked up later on. But for me, Surya Kumar Yadav is the sky. And then Virat Kohli. These two were exceptional. And Virat, who was a great stroke player, was always under pressure because he would go into bat after the second over. And then once almost the 6th over was finishing, we had Surya Kumar Yadav coming in. So the free-flowing bat of Virat used to turn into a sheet anchor because you can't hit from both ends. And Surya Kumar Yadav is one guy who likes to play 360 degrees. In the first 6 overs, we got beaten in that. And then the bowling department. We know that Hales and Jos Buttler like to hit over the bowler on the top. And an experienced bowler like Bhuvaneshwar is bowling short and outside the off stump, scared that he might be hit over the top. But you swing it so well, there's a chance for you to get a wicket. I don't know how they just did that. But I think this was the weakest bowling I've ever faced.
We'll come to bowling and batting in the more. Let's start with those openers because we have at least 2 openers. Both Lalchand Rajput and Shishir Atangdi have opened for Mumbai. Lalchand also for India. Let's look at a graphic. Runs in power play. England scored 51.6 runs on an average in the power play. New Zealand scored 44 runs in the power play. That's the first 6 overs. Pakistan 38.8 and India 36.2. So the first 6 overs, Lalchand, which are seen to really set the trend, India well behind. Did we get our opening combination wrong? That today, as an opener, you need someone very disruptive. We went with Rohit Sharma, proven match winner over the years. KL Rahul, who's done outstandingly in the IPL. But do you think that maybe we needed to put someone up there who was perhaps more willing to take risks right at the very top? The problem for the Indian team in this World Cup started at the top with the openers.
Absolutely, Rajdeep. I think the first 6 overs are very, very crucial because that decides the game, whether you win or lose and where you end up with. Because see, if you look at the earlier records of our openers, they were excellent. See, KL Rahul was excellent in the IPL. Rohit Sharma, I think he's a match winner. But during the World Cup, we were struggling for the openers because we never got a very good start. If you look at now, you just gave the runs in the first power play 36 or 38. I think it doesn't argue well for a team like India. Because I can understand a team like, a low ranked team, they can do that. But an Indian team, they should be over 45 plus. Then only we have a solid start. The middle order batsman can fire and then we end up. See, if you look at the whole World Cup, I think we really struggled. KL Rahul just got 150, Rohit Sharma just got 150. The only guy who was scoring consistently was Sky because he is batting, I think it's a purple patch for him and he's batting the best. And Virat Kohli. In the last game, I think Hardik Pandya did exceptionally well to get, I think the last 5 overs to get more than 70 runs. That was, excellent, so that we could reach to 168. Otherwise, we were way behind the scores, because if you get 140, 150, I think there is no matchup. Say England, even if they lost wicket, they would go berserk in the first 6 overs. Now, this is the mantra of the T20 format, that you got to go hard on the first 6 overs.
You have to go hard in the first 6 overs. Are you saying that minimum 50 runs? Would you say minimum you've got to score 50 runs first 6 overs, irrespective of the opposition, even if it means you might lose a wicket or two? Lalchan, is that what you're saying? 50 runs minimum in the first 6 overs?
Minimum, I would say, yeah, 50 runs to 50 to 55 is the, good score to start with. And with a batting lineup of ours, if we can't get 50, 55, then we are way behind. If you look at other teams as well, they go really hard. Even if they lose wickets, they will go hard at it. Because in bowling, the first 6 overs will decide. In batting, the first 6 overs decide. See, we have to tick the boxes, because we got 3 boxes, like say 1 to 6, 7 to 15 and 15 to 20. If you are way behind in 1 to 6, then you are having a catch up in 7 to 15, and then you really struggle to really go hard from the last 5 overs. So I think you got to start well. If you start well, you end up well. I think that is the area where we have to really look at, and how we can improve on that aspect. Which are the players who can be good enough to really start? See, like, earlier days, Sehwag used to go berserk, when we were Sehwag and Gautam Gambhir, when we played in 2007, I think they were really good and they really complemented each other. And every game, Gautam Gambhir was the highest run scorer in the 2007 World Cup. So you got to look at those options, because here we never had options. If somebody failed, we never had an option to turn around and look at somebody. So we really had to go with the same openers. They were not firing, but we had to go on. And what happened at the end, in the semi-final, we really failed miserably.
Shishir Attangdi, therefore, would you have changed the openers? Would you have tried something else? Or as Lalchand is saying, we had no options. You went with KL Rahul, vice captain, and Rohit Sharma, the captain, and they were your 2 openers and they were not in form. Would you have tried to change it at some stage in the tournament? Kirti Azad suggesting maybe a Rishabh Pant could have been pushed to open the batting. Do we need to recognize that you need to change the way you play power plays? We do it in IPL, but we are not able, the same batsman can't replicate in a World T20 tournament.
Rajdeep, I just think that, the template of a T20 game has to be attack in the first, in the power play. And that is only because it sets the trend for the game. And we were found really wanting in the power play. I mean, we lost wickets. We couldn't achieve a certain amount of, a certain number of runs in the power play, which actually slowed down. If you see most teams, even if they lose early wickets, they still are using the power play to maximum benefit. So, yes, I do endorse, to answer your question, the possibility of using a Rishabh Pant top of the order. Because, look, at the end of the day, it's a 120 ball game. And there's a very little chance that you'll get all out. So you may as well look at your match winners, your game changers, to take most of the 120 ball games, 120 balls. If you do that, you're in with a better chance of trying to upset the opposition rather than, play according to a template which somehow doesn't work in this format. You have to be adaptable and make sure that you make these changes, because that's the change is the only constant in this format. And you've got to take that chance and ensure that your team surprises oppositions. You come at them very hard. I know it's very cliched, but you have to come at them hard, because it's a 120 ball game. If you don't do that, you're obviously, with 160, you felt, you were comfortable, you are in with a chance, par score, etc., etc., etc. But the fact is, you saw the way Hales and Butler played. They just went after us. And at the end of the day, the scores suggest it was a one-sided game.
But just to ask, the same batsman that you're speaking about, that we are questioning today, Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul, very successful, for example, in the IPL. I mean, KL Rahul has scored centuries at will in the IPL. So what happens? Is there a difference between the way he plays for India and the way he plays in the IPL?
Are you asking me that?
Yes, yes.
Well, don't compare the IPL with the World Cup, Rajdeep. This is where I think we are making the biggest mistake. Mostly every team in the IPL has four foreigners and they generally tick off each other. It's basically a seven-man contest against seven domestic players in either side. So to think that the IPL is some kind of a yardstick to a World Cup, no. We've started the IPL in, I think, 2008. And since then, we know how many World Cups, T20 World Cups. We are actually pioneers in the T20 format in terms of making it a domestic tournament. But the fact is, we make that mistake often, to compare IPL as a yardstick, like we do for Ranji Trophy to Test cricket. There is a big gap between these two formats or these two levels of cricket, and we ought to be very mindful of that when you select teams for the World Cup, which is much different to selecting a franchise team.
Okay, therefore, Pradeep Magazine, let's come to let's settle the elephant in the room, which is the IPL itself. IPL has been a boon for most people because it's changed the way the game is run in this country. It's brought in revenues. It's helped us discover lots of new young talents from different parts of the country. But as Shishir Attangdi is saying, there's a huge gap between IPL and the ICC tournaments. Is it time we woke up to that reality? Is this one of the wake-up calls that we've got? That it's all very well to celebrate players when they play domestic cricket, but at the end of the day, when you're playing 5 quality international bowlers, it's a very different world.
Rajdeep, I agree with what most of the panelists have said. I want to make a couple of points. A is that I think T20 is like an AstroTurf moment for, like AstroTurf was for hockey, the way it affected Indian hockey. I think T20 is going to affect Indian cricket because T20, I think, is going to become a dominant factor in world cricket more and more and more. T20 is not your traditional test cricket. It is not even your 50-50 over cricket. Here, scoring run a ball is like suicidal. Here, scoring even 150% your run rate, scoring rate, even could be suicidal. You have to have batsmen who are muscular, who have power, who, as Shishir was saying, it's just a 120 ball game. That means each batsman should, if you divided, it's 10, 15 balls each. So you don't need anchors. You don't need people to hit centuries in T20. I think the mistake we are making is that we had 3 anchors in this team, in Rohit, Rahul, and Kohli, who may in IPL hit hundreds, even here hit hundreds, but more important is the scoring rate at which they do it. So we fell short in almost every game in that. We won against Pakistan, you would say we were lucky. We were almost lost to Bangladesh. I think we were lucky to qualify for the semi-finals. And semi-finals on a good batting track, we fell short because they have 11 batsmen who know that, okay, let's take risks. Let us face 10, 15 balls. If they can carry on scoring long, fine. But they don't mind losing their wicket in scoring runs.
But you're making a very important point that maybe cricket is going into this in the same direction as hockey. Once AstroTurf came in, the game became about power, not about finesse. And maybe cricket also in some ways in T20 favors the more muscular sides that come in a way from the Western countries. Now, when you look at the opener strike rate, just to highlight that point one last time, Rohit Sharma's strike rate was 106.42. KL Rahul was 120.75. England, Josh Butler is at 143.16. Alex Hales 148.59. New Zealand, Finn Allen at 186.27. And Devon Conway at 116. Pakistan, more like us. Mohammad Rizwan 109. Babar Azam 87.61. But Pakistan has reached the final and we haven't. Yes, they were lucky, but Kirti Azad, there will be those who believe that eventually, and you can go back to the 1983 World Cup that you won, bowlers win you World Cups. In 1983, your medium pacers did outstandingly well and won you a World Cup in England. In this World Cup, Pakistan and England, and to some extent South Africa, had the best bowling sides. Is that where we really lost? We can attack the batting, but when you have the kind of bowling that we have, even 180 is not a match-winning score. Do we need wicket-taking bowlers, bowlers who can bowl like Haris Rauf of Pakistan or Shaheen Shah Afridi over 150? or spinners who can take wickets like Adil Rashid?
Well, you have horses for courses. You have somebody, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who's not express speed. So Arshdeep is not express speed. Neither is Mohammad Shami express speed. You had a Bumrah who's not there in the side. You have Mohammad Shiraz who bowls really quick. He was not there. He was ready to come, but he did not replace Bumrah. So it's the first 6 overs in T20. Whether you're batting or you're bowling, that is all that matters. First 6 overs, if you get 50 odd, good start, you can get a 180 plus score. First 6 overs, if you bowl tight, keep them below 30, 35, pick up a wicket or two, you can win a game. But I would say, I would not blame the batting that much as I would blame the bowling.
No, so do we have or
bowled very
do we not
badly.
have
We should
wicket-taking bowlers?
The last
So
match,
Kirti Azad, do we have or do we not have wicket-taking bowlers? Is the problem that most of our bowlers play on docile wickets in this country, even now, which are batsman-friendly, and therefore we are not able to produce like the Pakistanis across the border, bowlers who can bowl consistently 145, 150 plus?
No, it's not that. We have bowlers. We have an Umran Malik who bowls at 150 plus. You have got to groom him. You have a Siraj who bowls 140 plus. He's a youngster. You have a Bumrah in your side who bowls 150 plus, 145 plus. You have bowlers. But as you said, that, we, in India, when you talk about batting in Australia, in India you have flat track bullies. In Australia you have fast track bunnies. That's the only difference. The bullies and bunnies fast and flat.
Very, very interesting. Lalchand Rajput, are there bowlers outside the pool, except of course Jasprit Bumrah who was injured, who you think could have been good enough to become wicket-taking match winners? Pakistan's fortunes have been revived, I repeat, by Shaheen Shah Afridi. England has bowlers like Mark Wood who bowl over 150. Do you believe that we have to gamble now with youngsters who can bowl 145 plus?
Absolutely, sir, Rajdeep. I think, it's very important to have wicket-taking bowlers. See, in T20, most of the time, it's batsman-oriented game. So, batsman will be going after the bowlers. But if you have a bowler who is bowling 130, 135, batsman will go after him. But if you have a genuine quick 145 plus, that is where you push the batsman on the back foot. You really push the batsman to make their shots, and that is where you try to take wickets. Why Pakistan has got 3 to 4 fast bowlers who can bowl 145 plus? Then it becomes very difficult for batsman to score or take him on. Same thing with England. They got good Mark Wood who can bowl 140 plus, 145 plus. There are bowlers who can, same like with South Africa. So you got to groom those fast bowlers. See, we have to have a pool of fast bowlers. Make sure that they are trained properly, they are groomed well. See, they may be raw, but that is where our National Cricket Academy comes. That is where I think the coaches have to be after them, so that they get the nuances of bowling a Yorker, they get the nuances of bowling a slower one or a knuckle ball. With that pace, a good bouncer is also a very good attacking ball, because these are the things which you have to try and improve. And I'm sure we got the resources, but we got to really nurture them well, because if you have wicket-taking bowlers, I think your half the job is done.
Interesting, but how do you produce those? Even spinning, Shishir Atandi, look at our spinners. We took our Ashwin, a bit of a gamble because he is perhaps in the last phase of his career. And look at what happened. Ashwin has given on an average 8.15 runs per match. Akshar Patel, very successful in India, but again gave 8.62 runs a match. So your two leading spinners in this tournament gave over 8 runs. Should you have gone with a Yuzvendra Chahal possibly, or do you believe there are people out of this pool? Again, I come to it. Do we need to gamble with younger talent perhaps that exists out there and make them specialist T20 players? We seem to be playing the same
I think time
team
has
in
come
Test cricket.
where we need to segregate these formats.
Would you segregate T20, ODI and Tests? Would you segregate the three?
Absolutely. That's what I was saying. We need to segregate these formats because it's a question of horses for courses. And more importantly, in this format, the T20 format, you need to keep close eye on strike rates and economy rates. I mean, Lalchand, my friend there, is coached Afghanistan. I think every time a team plays Afghanistan, when they're looking at 20 overs, they actually rule out Rashid Khan's 4 overs because they know what he's capable of. And they know on a bad day, he'll give X number of runs. On a good day, he'll give a very few runs and pick up wickets. So I think the whole approach towards selection, towards the way you construct your T20 team has to change, because it's all about run rates, strike rates, and of course economy rates, and how you pick up those wickets in those 20 balls you bowl. So 24 balls, I beg your pardon. So it's the outlook that needs to change, and big names needn't be feeling too comfortable, because if you find players who can do the job in a 120 ball tournament or a 120 ball innings, then back them, whoever they are, because they're going to give you the results. They will fail. They will fail. But when they get going, they're not going to ponder around, with 50 balls, 60 balls and get maybe a strike rate of 110. That's just not good enough. It's not something acceptable in this format, Rajdeep. And we need to look inwards and say, okay, Test cricket is made for some. T20 is a different format made for others, and a one-day game is made for others. That is, maybe look at different coaches for these formats and actually focus on what is so important in succeeding in each format. If you have a coach for each format, their outlook would change, fitness demands will change, and of course the output from players will have to change to be able to be a reckoning or be a big force in international cricket. I again say this, IPL may be a good domestic tournament, but make no mistake, it is not a yardstick to judge players.
Let me therefore pick up on what Shishir Attangdi has said to you, Pradeep Magazine. Look at England. All their players, barring Ben Stokes, only play white ball cricket. They've dropped their best batsman by a distance. Joe Root from T20 cricket, kept him for ODIs and tests. In India, God forbid, if you were to drop a Rohit Sharma or even a KL Rahul or dare I say a Virat Kohli, all hell would break loose, saying, all your best players must play all formats. Do you believe we need to reorient that, even have a new coach? Why should Rahul Dravid be pushed into coaching all formats? He could coach the test team, possibly ODI, and have someone else, possibly a foreign coach, as the Pakistanis, have foreign batting advisors, consultants in a Matthew Hayden. Maybe just change the way you approach T20, even in terms of managing the sport. Would you agree with that? Have a completely different team for T20 and treat it as a different sport to Test cricket.
I completely agree, because we have no choice also. T20 cricket is very different from other formats. You need different players. You need, even mediocrity here can be hugely successful because you don't have to play long. Any batsman capable on his day to hit 6 sixes in an over is a match winner, rather than somebody hitting 100 with a strike rate of 110, 120, even 130. India needs to change, and because T20, I think, and everyone will agree, it is going to be the dominant factor in world cricket.
No, but is India willing to change? Pradeep, is India willing to drop its superstars?
System is so strong. We have a star system. If Joe Root could be dropped, who scores very briskly, he even in Test cricket scores at run a ball, which in Test cricket is a phenomenal achievement. They dropped him. They don't have any Test cricketer apart from Ben Stokes, as you say, or Josh Butler. They included later in their Test team. But he's not the star player in their team. India needs to realize that T20 cricket is an entirely different ball game unless they focus on and get away with the star system. I think there are too many pressures that so-and-so is an IPL captain and a big player, he needs to play there, or so-and-so is a big player, huge player, the TV ratings would be there. There will be too many pressures in India because of the way the business model is and the money which is generated by advertisers and television. But India needs to realize that if they have to succeed at T20, IPL is not enough. IPL may become a grooming ground for foreign cricketers. They may experiment here because they are big cricketers. They go back and play for their countries, or their junior cricketers come there and learn here. But India needs to realize that if they have to succeed in T20 cricket, they have to get away with the star system and get away with the fact that treat T20 cricket like Test cricket. Oh, we need openers who stabilize, and then the middle order, and then T20 is a very different game altogether, and India needs to wake up.
Would you agree with that also, Kirti Azad? Maybe we need maybe a foreign coach for T20 cricket, because it appears that countries like England are much more willing to experiment with the game, changing the way the game is being played. In India, it seems that we don't want to change the management for T20 or indeed the players. Would you would you be dropping some of the big names of Indian cricket and say, look, you play Test cricket, you're all legends in a way, but allow T20 to be played by this young, new, seemingly fearless generation that has much less to lose, and allow them to focus on white ball cricket?
I wouldn't have taken quite a few to Australia who went with the team now to the World Cup. I would have taken simply these young guys like Iyer would have gone. I mean, a person like Siraj would have gone in this side. You could have a Prithvi Shaw going into that side. Taking these people. We just can't go by big names. Sanju Samson, yes. I mean, you just can't go by big names that you bring in Mohammad Sami to replace Bumrah rather than Mohammad Siraj, who's been playing there for such a long time. So, it's very strange thinking about big names rather than you picking up horses for courses who've been there, who've been playing regularly, haven't been injured like Shami was.
So you're saying pick much more younger players, but what about coaching, Lalchand Rajput? Rahul Dravid is one of the greats of Indian cricket, but he grew up much more in the traditional game. Now, if you look at the next generation, they're just reinventing the game completely. Surya Kumar Yadav is a good example of what you can do if you reinvent batting style. Would you also, in a way, have separate coaches for T20 and Test cricket and ODI?
Rajdeep, to a certain extent, yes, because the game is changing a lot now. Because if you look at the 2007 World Cup and now now this World Cup, the batsmen have changed, the strike rate has changed, the bowlers have changed a lot because there are a lot of variations coming in, the Yorkers, the slower ones, the knuckle balls. So you got to change with time, and I think we got to realize it, that we got to have horses for courses, because we got to have a team which is specialized in T20 format. And I'm sure, I think the management will have a look at it and think about it and make sure that we have a team which is exclusively for T20, because T20 is a format where batsmen have to express themselves. They got to go and really go after the bowling. If a batsman can do without fear, I think that batsman, and then you got to have the strike rate as well. Because 110 and 120 doesn't work nowadays.
So would you pick Prithvi Shaw is on our screen, as Sanju Samson?
If you want to be at the international level, and if you want to really fire, you got to have a strike rate of more than 130 or 140 plus. Then only the team can do. So you got to look at those players, those aspects, and make sure that you get the right combination. And plus, I think you got to look at the coaching aspect as well, because this is a format where you have to be up, I would say one step ahead of time, because you have to think, because there is no way that you can come back. In one day you can come back, in Test cricket you can come back, but in T20 it's very difficult. Every ball is an event, every over is an event, so you got to make better decisions, So you got to be one step ahead of making decisions.
We've got on the screen at the moment Surya Kumar Yadav, Shishir Attangdi. He's redefined the sport. So it's not as if we don't have players who are ahead of the game. Would you therefore choose a few others? I mentioned a few, Prithvi Shaw and Sanju Samson among them, who perhaps could be told, express yourself like Surya Kumar has. Surya Kumar is not a Test player for India, but he's India's now star T20 player. Do we need to create 2 or 3 more Surya Kumars? Possibly 2 or 3 more bowlers who specialize in one day, like a Ravi Bishnoi, possibly as a leg spinner, and go with them, stick with them for the next 2 years?
Absolutely. There's no question of that, Rajdeep. I mean, if I was a selector in Kirti Azad's time, I would have a quiet word with him and say, hey, look, you will play only the one-day format or T20 format. Stay away from Test cricket because I need you more for India in that format. I think it's important for the management to shortlist or longlist a list of players who are really tuned for a certain format. And don't be surprised, there are a few Surya Kumars lurking around there in India
Are
who
there?
probably haven't had that platform. And it's
Are there?
important for them to be shortlisted, identified, and told very clearly that this is where your strength is, this is where your USP as a cricketer is, and you need to just focus on this. Don't, keep playing a chess game between T20, Test cricket, one-day cricket, and confuse players. If they know this, they are a right horse for a certain course, just back them for that course. Don't keep changing them from T20 to Test cricket because I don't think, and I am sure it's not going to serve the purpose of taking Indian cricket forward.
Right.
You've got to be really, really cruel in terms of your judgment and honest about it. That this is my priority. Strike rate, economy rate are going to be the most important part of a selection process.
The fact is, though, Pradeep Magazine, is that in a few months from now, we'll be back in IPL season. The World Cup will be forgotten. The defeat to England will be forgotten. We possibly look at a World Cup that comes in October next year, ODI. But the IPL tends to obsess us. There's a talk of even having 2 IPL cycles. Do you believe somewhere that for all the good the IPL has done, we need to pull back a bit and recognize, as Shishir and others have said, IPL is not a world tournament, it's a domestic tournament. The same players who you invest so much in through the franchise system are not good enough when it comes to a world tournament. Should we pull back a bit on the IPL and focus maybe on discovering new talents, perhaps through other ways, and also allow them maybe to play in foreign leagues? Haris Rao from Pakistan plays in Australia. Other Pakistanis play in the West Indies T20. Our players are told you can only play in India.
Rajdeep, it should be a very embarrassing for India that the home of T20 cricket, the most popular, lucrative tournament, which started in 2008, we are almost around 14, 15 years of IPL here, and we haven't won a world championship. Like we say, IPL is our great product, and the entire world cricketers want to play here, and we are home for T20 cricket. So India needs to realize that, yes, I agree with Shishir that IPL, I mean, there are just 4 foreign cricketers playing, there are 7 Indian cricketers playing, but IPL, we should use it to judge the players for T20 cricket in IPL, but players who are fearless strikers of the ball, players who we feel have the strength, who can take the mental pressure and be attacking each and every ball, like Surya Kumar Yadav. It's very disappointing to know that Surya Kumar Yadav, to cement his place in T20 cricket, had to struggle so much. And he couldn't get into this Indian team because of these huge big names who were there in the Indian team. And so is the case with so many other cricketers, so many other Surya Kumar Yadavs who could have been part of this team if we had identified what we need in T20 cricket a year back. There were a lot of people who had feared this, that our star system is not allowing us to get in new, fearless young cricketers who have this ability to score briskly, quickly, who are fearless. But I hope we learn this lesson and move forward to and in the next T20 tournament, we have a better team.
But there are gaps, and one of the gaps, Kirti Azad, and again I go back to 1983, is the gap in all-rounders. You had 5 or 6 all-rounders in that team, people who could bat and bowl. One of the weaknesses we seem to have is, barring Hardik Pandya, there's no one who bowls 4 overs and can be also counted on to score a half century. Is that the nature? Is there one of the biggest challenges going ahead is going to be to find an all-rounder? You don't get a Kapil Dev every generation, but we need T20 is a game of all-rounders. All the English batsmen right down to number 10 have scored first-class hundreds and have taken 5 wickets.
Yes, I do agree with you. We need all-rounders. All-rounders basically the backbone of any side because they would contribute both ways. And we had about 8 all-rounders in our side, and Kapil could shuffle between 6 or 7 bowlers and could use any option that he wanted. But then if you look at this team, you still have 6 bowlers and you have to bowl 4 overs each. And having said that, you consider Ashwin coming in as an all-rounder at number 8. You have Akshar Patel, whom I think should never be there. He shouldn't be there in the Indian team at all, any format. He's coming there at number 7. So you have these players who are considered as all-rounders. You have a Hardik Pandya who is considered an all-rounder. Your wicket-keeper batsman is an all-rounder. Bhuvneshwar Kumar is an all-rounder who can bat lower down the order. So you can't really say that they are not there. The only thing is that they have to fire at the time when they are given the opportunity.
But
and many, I feel, are past their prime.
Okay, but you only have one world-class all-rounder at the moment in Hardik Pandya, which comes to the question, Lalchand Rajput, should he be the face? Should the team now be built around him, Surya Kumar Yadav? That the spirit that these two have shown and the ability that they have, build a team around them, make Hardik Pandya captain. He just won an IPL. Rohit Sharma has been a remarkable cricketer for 15 years, but, maybe he needs to just focus on Test and ODIs. Do you believe we can build a team around Hardik Pandya and Surya Kumar Yadav for the future?
Rajdeep, the way the selectors have chosen Hardik Pandya as captain for the New Zealand, I think they are looking ahead. Right. Definitely he has proved in the IPL as a captain. He has shown that maturity as well. So looking ahead, yes, the selection committee should be thinking on those lines, and that's the reason why they must have made him the captain. Surya Kumar Yadav, I think he is the next, I think, big thing in Indian cricket. And I'm sure people will be around Hardik Pandya, Surya Kumar Yadav, and the youngsters. They got to get some youngsters in. See, T20 format is the format for young legs, to be very honest. But yes, you have a mixture of seniors and the juniors, but we got to look at A, their physical fitness, B, their mental status, because how tough they are, and C, their skill level. If they can adapt quickly to the situation, I think that's the key in T20 format. So look at those players, build around them, get in now, because see, the T20 World Cup is 2 years. You got to start working now only, because 2 years will just go by. So make sure that you start building it, and then you got a steady team. See, like even in this World Cup, we were too late in finalizing our team as well, because some teams, I feel that you should have been 6 months before that you have a template that these are the openers, these are the middle orders, these are the strikers, these are the finishers, and plus the bowlers, who are my best bowlers up front, middle overs, death bowlers, and who are my wicket taking bowlers. So we had to be finalized before 6 months. Now we were still looking for a bowler just before going to the World Cup. There is a replacement for Bumrah, or who will be bowling in the spin department.
Right.
Jadeja is injured, so we were looking at Akshar Patel. So there are a lot of hosh-posh just before going to the World Cup. I still feel that before going to the World Cup, 6 months prior, your team should be settled.
Interestingly, when you went to the 2007 World Cup, Tendulkar, Ganguly, Dravid, all of them dropped out of the World Cup because T20 was then seen as Mickey Mouse cricket. You gave a chance to young people led by a young captain in Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Maybe there is a template in that, Shishir Atangdi. We need to, no risk, no reward. T20 is about taking risks, and you'll get rewards. Maybe experiment with a completely new team. I know Sunil Gavaskar started this program saying, don't take emotional knee-jerk decisions. But, low risk, low reward.
Rajdeep, as much as I'd love to say what I want to say, I'll say it the way I see it. And the fact is that after every World Cup debacle, there has been a real introspection to change players because of the performance. And I would be really happy if the selectors don't look at it as another bad day, because it's not one bad day. It's a culmination of many bad days that have made you lose this crucial semi-finals. And if they have chosen Hardik as their leader for the future, then they need to back him and identify the players. I mean, for the life of me, I cannot believe that Chahal, the leg spinner, was not picked for whatever reasons. It may have been a very, very good reason for not picking him. But on a lighter note, if Amir Khan can pick Kachra and Lagan, I don't see any reason why Rohit Sharma wouldn't have picked Chahal for this crucial game against England. He's a spinner. He's obviously going to pick up wickets. He could go wrong. He could be hammered. He could be taken runs off. He could be, buccaneered as a bowler. But the fact is, if he gets his line length right, he's going to pick you wickets. And that is what wins you games. So, to me, it's a mystery that I haven't been able to solve.
Much questions, of course, as always, will therefore be asked about the way we select teams in this country. As has been suggested by many of our panelists, choose a team 6 months in advance. Prepare well in advance. Pakistan got lucky, but Pakistan, all said and done, has been willing to perhaps take a few more risks with their T20 side than we have. And maybe they've, as a result, benefited from that. Kirti Azad, when are you going to see the next Indian team lift an ICC World Cup? Do you believe Indian cricket is in good hands? Are we being too pessimistic? The truth is, we are the capital of world cricket. This is where every cricketer wants to play.
If we have the changes that I think should be there in the side, I'm sure we can do really well in the next World Cup. You can't really guarantee a victory,
right.
But I'm sure if you have people like Hardik, like Surya Kumar Yadav, like an Iyer or a Sanju Samsung or a Prithvi Shaw, these guys like Siraj coming into the side, Umar Malik coming into the side, these people are groomed. I'm sure they'll make a very good side.
Okay.
Obviously with a little bit of experience that we already have in the team.
Let's leave it there. As I said, cricket is a national obsession. That's why we've had this round table, because I guess there is disappointment and despondency over not just losing, but the manner of our defeat. And hopefully better things are round the corner. Fir subah hogi, as they would say, when it comes to Indian cricket. But we need to take certain hard decisions. And unless we are willing to take those hard decisions, take risks, there will be little reward. To you, Kirti Azad, Lalchand Rajput, Shishi Ratangdi, Pradeep Magazine and Sunil Gavaskar, who joined us earlier, thanks very much for this special round table. Thanks for watching. Stay well, and may the best team win the 2022 T20 World Cup. Pakistan or England, the two teams with the best bowling attacks, are in the finals. And there might lie a lesson for the future. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Armed with facts, she takes the news by its horns.
Do you think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories from every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
Greenhouse gas emissions are a looming threat to climate change. Industries are finding ways to capture and store carbon. This helps in reducing the emissions and reducing the overall impact of carbon on the environment. Carbon capture and storage is a way of reducing industrial greenhouse gas emissions. It involves recovering the carbon gas at its source and holding it in underground reserves. First, the carbon dioxide is separated from the smoke or combustion fumes. Industrial emissions comprise up to 15% carbon dioxide. The rest is mainly water vapor and nitrogen. Separating the gases is costly, accounting for about 2/3 of the overall capture and storage process. Capture techniques are constantly evolving. Extracting the carbon dioxide post-combustion is a well-mastered method, but it's relatively energy-intensive. Another possibility is removing the carbon dioxide before the fuel is burnt. Development of this process is ongoing. Once separated, the carbon dioxide is compressed and transported by pipeline, boat or tanker to underground or deep-sea storage facilities. It is injected far underneath gas-tight layers of rock and stored under pressure until it reaches a near liquid state. Suitable storage sites include end-of-life oil and gas fields or extremely deep layers of porous rock impregnated with salt water.
I don't read the news. I read between the lines to tell you the true version of events, the true story of our times.
To document grief, the toughest assignment for any journalist to be.
From those who matter.
Women politicians going to stick up for each other.
Of those who should matter. I document the truth. I don't distort the truth. I don't glamorize the truth. I don't gloss over the truth.
The ghosts of India's contentious medieval history have come knocking again.
I hustle for the truth. On the ground, in the newsroom, in the studio. I don't try to grab eyeballs.
I inform you to make you see the point.
To the Point with Preeti Chaudhary. At these times, only on India Today.
Co-powered by RK Marble, Khoobsurat Imandari. In association with JioMart.